Hello and welcome back to the Embracing Your Powers podcast. I'm super excited for today's episode because we are going to be talking about how life is easy when you let it be. And I'm not sure if you guys are hearing the ASMR in the background of my cat eating, but she is still stuck in my office for a little while longer, so we're going to deal with whatever noises she comes up with today. But I want to move a little bit away from business advice. We'll still talk about things from the lens of running a business, but I want to move a little bit more into mindset for this episode. And we've had some crazy things happening within the last week that I cannot wait to tell you guys about, and even just in the last day. And we'll get into that in a little bit because I just want to kind of talk about how life isn't supposed to be hard. It can really be easy when you let it be. And one of the things that I'm always really good at is controlling everything. I want everything to be done perfectly to a T. It's a really bad habit that I have. I try to control every single part of my life. I obsess over little details and plan things over and over and over and over and over again in my head until the scenario plays out perfectly in my head, because it rarely pans out perfectly in real life, because that's just how real life works, right? And if you find yourself doing this as well, you know how utterly exhausting this can be. But why do we do things like this? I know for many people, and for myself included, it comes from a lack of trust. We talked about this a little bit in the last episode. It's likely going to be a theme here on the podcast because a lot of the issues that we have stem from simply a lack of trust. If you don't think you can handle a situation or you can't control the outcome, you obsess over every single little detail so that you can control whatever it is that you can control, even if it's the smallest detail. You want to try to make everything perfect. And for me, I know this is true. And for a lot of other people, it comes from childhood, when you may not have a lot of control over the things you said or did. And now in adulthood, when you can control everything, you try to, in fact, control everything. You might take it to the extreme to think that you need to control every little detail of your life, and that is exhausting. But you do this because you didn't have an opportunity to do it as a kid. Another reason could be you're controlling everything because you want everything to be perfect because you are a perfectionist. Maybe you heard that things were not good enough as a kid. Like you weren't good enough. Parents either told you that, or that's just the vibe that you got based off of whatever it is that they said. So you need to control everything so that it'll be perfect. Another thing could be you worry about getting in trouble because if you didn't do things perfectly as a kid, you would get into trouble. And so now as an adult, you try to plan everything and control everything so that you avoid making mistakes and getting in trouble, which of course, chances are now as an adult, you're not going to get in trouble, but it's like a subconscious thing of if I mess things up, if I make a mistake, if things aren't perfect, I might get in trouble. So you try to control everything to make sure everything is as perfect as it possibly can go. It kind of comes from like needing to protect yourself, because that's the main thing, is protection. Whether we know it or not, we're always trying to protect ourselves, even if the thing that we're doing to protect ourselves is not exactly a healthy habit to begin with. And you might hear all of that and go, okay, great, but what the heck does that have to do with life being easy? And it has a lot actually to do with it. If you go through life where you feel that you need to control every single aspect of it, you are pushing, controlling, things are going to be a lot harder for you versus if you just let things be and you let things flow. Controlling is stressful. It's not coming from a place of abundance. It's coming from a place of lack. And that's going to make life a lot harder for you. Because when you are in this pushing and this controlling energy and you're trying to just have everything go a certain way, you're telling the universe and yourself that you don't trust yourself for things to pan out the way that they are supposed to pan out. You don't trust in the process. You don't trust that things were going to go the way that they were always meant to go. You don't let things flow, and that's going to make it harder on you. And what we need to realize is that there is no such thing as missing your opportunity. There is no truly wrong turns in life. There is only redirection. There is a such thing as missing an opportunity, but there is no such thing as missing your opportunity. There's a difference. What I mean by that is if you didn't get the job that you wanted and the job that you love, that means that is a redirection for something else to go right in your life. That is a redirection for a better job. If you didn't get the house you put in for, or you didn't get, or the relationship. Hi, sweet. She's a lab kitty. So, she's gonna come join us in the podcast. You gonna join the podcast? Stop it. Look how cute she is. I cannot handle her. She's probably gonna try to bite me though, because that's her other favorite thing, is biting. Oh, you wanna go over there? I'm sorry. All of my stuff is in your way. Mom, move your stuff. I know. I'm sorry. Gosh, it is a blast having two cats, and this one is just she is so adorable. Okay, she's gonna be my guest. Do you have anything to say? She likes to meow too, so she's gonna take a nap right there, and I'm gonna get back to what the heck I was just saying. If your relationship ended, or your job didn't go right or whatever, that is just a redirection that something better is coming in the future. And this leads in perfectly to what I wanted to tell you guys today about how my week has gone. So I've been working a lot on dropping the outcome. And basically that just means like I'm not holding tight to this outcome anymore. And one of the things that I was holding really tight onto was getting a house. I've wanted a house. My husband and I both have wanted a house since even before we started renting. We've been looking at houses for 5, 6, 7 years. And we every year are saying we want to move out, we want to move out, we want to move out. And it just hasn't happened for us. But this year things are finally starting to move. And I've been doing mindset coaching, which has been, I've talked about it before. It's been chef's kiss, so extremely helpful. Transformation has been insane. And so one of the things that I'm learning is dropping the outcome and kind of just letting things flow, letting things be, and not really stressing so much about the outcome. So that is what I was working on with the house, is like, if I get the house, if I don't, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be okay no matter what. And so we've been kind of manifesting a house for this entire year. We started at the beginning of the year. We wanted to start fresh for the year. We went through all of our junk and all the stuff that we didn't want. We donated about 3 carloads worth of stuff, multiple bags and just of clothes and just everything, because that was kind of our way of saying, we want this house. We want to manifest it, because I don't want to bring anything into my brand new house that I don't want. I want to make sure that everything that goes into my brand new house is what I actually want to take. Like, I'm like, yes, I want this. I'm not just bringing junk in. And then while we were doing that, we organized my closets and we started packing things away. We know that we're trying to move by September because that's when our lease is up. So we started packing away all the Christmas decor because we're like, we're going to be moved out of here by then. And I'm talking taped, labeled, packed, everything. Threw away the Christmas tree because we don't want it in the new house. We're going to buy a new Christmas tree in the house. But I'm still letting go of the outcome, because if we don't, I didn't like that tree anyway, so it makes sense to get rid of. It was taking up a lot of room. So that's kind of how I've gotten rid of that outcome. Now, we talked to a real estate agent and we decided we were going to wait until June because this, that, or whatever. There's a lot of things that go into it, right? And now it's April, and we decided let's look at some of the houses that he's sent us, and we found this one house. And we've seen it before. It was still on the market, but this time when we looked at it, and we just seen it online, we didn't actually physically go see it, but this time that we seen it, it just felt like home. And so we're like, okay, we're going to go see it. Saw it the next day, and it's perfect for us. We absolutely love it. And so we started the home buying process, and things have just finally been working out. We contacted a mortgage broker. Everything went great. Process has been started. Why is this all relevant? Because I dropped the outcome, things have started to become easier. Because I let things go, things have started to flow easier. And sometimes bumps can come up in the road. And that is exactly what happened immediately after contacting the mortgage broker. So basically, if you've never bought a house before, they have to pull your credit, and they don't necessarily want your credit to change a lot between now and when you buy the house, because then they have to do another pull and then you might not get approved, all of these things, right? And so she told us on the phone, we recommend that you don't use your credit cards, which is fine. However, on my husband's way to work, he was taking his car to get an oil change, and he called me to say, hey, just letting you know, got the oil change. I'm on my way to work. On the phone call, I hear a crack. I don't know what it was. And I was like, what the heck was that? I didn't think anything of it. Maybe I'm like, okay, he dropped his phone. No, his hood flew open and cracked his windshield. Thankfully, he was okay. He came home. It wasn't as big of a crack as I thought it was. So everything is fine. But we've had this car for about 7 or 8 years. It was actually a gift to me from one of our old friends that we are no longer talking to. And it's a car that we've been wanting to get rid of because it's just a bad juju, bad memories. It's his car that he drives to work and then we leave it. It's junk. The hood has been broken almost the entire time that we've had it, and we think the latch finally rusted out and also cracked his windshield. We cannot now fix this car because we can't use our credit cards, and we don't want to put a large lump sum of money into this car, especially because it's old. We want to get rid of it. This happened at the perfect time, but also the worst time. I was frustrated about it at first, of course, as you would be, but the more that I thought about it, I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity. This could not have happened at a more perfect time, because the only way that I was ever going to get my husband to get rid of this car, he said it himself, was if this car is no longer drivable. This car is officially no longer drivable, and there's no point in fixing it, because we decided once the car was no longer drivable, we weren't going to fix it. We were just going to get rid of it. That's kind of what we have to do now. The 2 bad memories that I cannot wait to get rid of is this apartment, because we've lived in a similar place with the person who gifted me the car. Also, the car. Now those things are going to be left behind in this chapter, and they're not going to be moving forward with us into the next chapter of our life, into the house. We're not bringing any bad things or anything that we don't want into the new house, and that includes my car. I have been looking at this house buying process as the next chapter. That's why I've been so excited about it, because this feels like the next chapter of my business, the next chapter of my life. We can start a family finally. All the things that we've been wanting to do. We can renovate. I can paint my walls instead of having them all white. And now we don't have to take the car with us. We would have if we had no other choice, because it was still a good car. Now it's broken down and my husband is okay, which is the main thing. And we can get rid of this car and move on with the next chapter of our life. So sometimes your manifestations come in blessings in disguise, right? This is a blessing in disguise because it is a crappy situation. We're now going to be down to one car as opposed to two. It's not ideal, right? But this is the thing that I was manifesting. And sometimes, I don't want to say that's the thing I was manifesting, because obviously I was not manifesting my husband getting his whole windshield cracked open, but me getting into the next chapter of my life, me letting things be easy, me getting rid of this car, finally, there's going to be no argument now that we have to get rid of it. I can look at the situation as a nice thing as opposed to something that is bad. It's just funny how the universe works in ways like this, that sometimes shitty things have to happen in order for you to be kind of shifted out of your mindset, in order for you to take action, because otherwise we wouldn't have taken action on this thing. And yeah, once I let go of the outcome, once I let things start to be easy, things have started to be easy and the home buying process is moving forward. But I've also dropped the outcome, which is something that you really have to work on to make life easier, is dropping the outcome, because I'm no longer stressed about getting a house. I know things are going to work out as they should. This house that we found, I know it's ours. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my soul. We've done so much manifesting over this. We have planned out where we're going to put things, whose room is going to be whose. We picked out this house without any arguments whatsoever. There have been no issues with this whole process, and it's easy. And that's how I know this house is going to be ours. There is no way you can miss your opportunity. Things are going to work out in your timeline no matter what. So you don't need to stress. And if we do not get this house, it doesn't matter. Because if I don't get this house, that means there is a better house out there for us. That means this wasn't my house. This might just help us get the process started so that we can find our dream house if I don't get this house, because it is possible that I won't. And once you get to that point of, I know this is going to happen for me no matter what, but even if it doesn't, I have a backup plan, or not even necessarily a backup plan. I'm going to be okay no matter what. And so just realizing that there is better out there for you, even if the situations that you're so worried about controlling doesn't work, you're gonna find better. But back on track here a little bit, it feels so freeing to be able to let go. And once you let go, which is difficult, then things start to flow and then it becomes easy. And trust me on this, it's hard, but once you start letting go, then it becomes easy. And then you can almost take the muscles that you've built letting go of one situation, even if it's something super small. Like, I want to get tickets to the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. I don't have them. They're all sold out, or they're scalpers and they're thousands of dollars. I've already decided that I'm not available for any other outcome but me going to the Taylor Swift tour. I'm going no matter what. It doesn't matter. It's happening. So you can take a situation small like that and almost build up your muscles on letting go of the outcome, letting life be easy, and just saying, this is what's going to happen and I'm not available for any other outcome to happen. And then once you learn that and you see how that works out, then you can try to take it into bigger things. Like if you are moving like me and you're really stressed about it, you could just be like, I'm going to move this year. It doesn't matter. Or if I don't, I'm still going to be okay. And then that's when things will start to move forward for you. I promise, because that is exactly what's been happening for me. Same thing in my business. I've been noticing this a lot as well. I was working on pushing and pushing and pushing in my business, and I have finally stepped back a little bit, and things have been going fantastic. You guys have been absolutely loving the podcast episodes, which is crazy to me because I don't have a script. There's zero editing. It's literally cut and splice. The background is not perfect. There's passion, but there's not necessarily a lot of effort. Like, there's effort, you know what I mean? But it's not as what I was doing for my other videos. And you guys have been loving the podcast. So I'm stepping back from the outcome, detaching myself from the numbers, and then the numbers are starting to grow. It's kind of like counterintuitive or backwards. You have to like not care about it for things to start happening. It's kind of crazy how that works. And I mean, you still want to care, right? Like, I still care that these things do well. I still put a lot of passion into these. But before in my business, I was talking about a topic that I didn't necessarily enjoy. Like, I enjoyed it, but I was still doing Pinterest and stuff. I was doing a business that I didn't enjoy with Pinterest management. I was doing DoorDash, which I didn't enjoy. And I wasn't making much money. And I felt that I needed to be working every single moment of the day. From the time that I woke up to the time that I went to bed, I was working. And I wasn't seeing a lot of results. That's just what I had to do. All of the dude bros out here are saying, you got to get up at 5 a.m. and do your powder milkshake thing and protein shake and then work all day long until 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't have time to work till 2 a.m. Okay, I want to be in bed by 10:30. All right, nope, not interested. No, thank you. I don't want to be working my business till 3 a.m. I want to be asleep and have boundaries with my business and myself that I need to follow in order for my mental health to work. And the more I stepped back from my business, the more my business grew, because then you can start taking inspired action as opposed to action because I have to, or stressed action. Your world opens up to a place where you can now see opportunities that you didn't see before when you let go and let life be easy. It wasn't very long ago in my business, just a few months ago, that I thought that I was going to have to quit. I picked up my first job application in years because I thought that if I wanted to get this house, I was going to have to raise my income even more, and I was going to have to quit my job as a business content creator because I wasn't going to have the time. I genuinely cried for days over the thought of putting in an application at a depressing, soul-sucking 9-to-5 job and quitting my dream. I cried for days, you guys. But in reality, that was never something that I needed to do. I was so focused on the negative and so focused on controlling the outcome of the house and all these other things that I wasn't seeing what was right in front of me, that I just needed to change my mindset. I just needed to change the way that I was thinking and seeing about things instead of changing my situation. Because once I changed my mindset, then my situation changed. It was like the other way around almost. I knew that I had to make a change if this was going to work. So over the next few months, I switched my niche. I found the joy in my business again. I hired the most amazing mindset coach. I started reading personal development books, and I really started working on my mental health, meditating, journaling, reading personal development books, like I said, all of those things. And now, although my situation hasn't particularly changed, like it's changed, but it hasn't changed much yet, everything has still changed. I've launched a new service called Shine with Sarah. I'm happy with the direction my channel is going in. Like I said, the podcast is doing fantastic. I adopted a new cat. I started looking for houses. Like so much has changed. It's amazing. And I can't wait to see what happens in the future. And I really hope that this is making sense for you guys and this is really resonating. I know a lot of this is just kind of like stories of what's going on in my life, but I'm hoping that this is still a helpful thing because my mindset has changed, my attitude has changed, my confidence has grown. And then because of that, my vision and my perspective has changed. And that's helped everything else along change to make life easier than it was before. Because when you are focused so hard on the outcome, making a certain amount of money in your business, hitting a certain milestone, buying a house, getting in your new car, getting a new job, relationship, whatever it is, when you are so focused on the outcome, you're trying to control everything and you're missing opportunities potentially that the universe is trying to show you. But because you're so tunnel visioned on your goal and you can't let that go, you don't see all of the other opportunities that are outside of your blinded vision because you have such a big control on the outcome. So when you let that go, then you can start to see things in a different light. You're kind of almost blocking the things that you want accidentally by holding on so tightly to the outcome. So for me, I let go of the outcome. I decided that yes, I was going to get a house this year, but it was going to happen on its own time. And I decided that yes, my income was going to raise, but it was going to happen on its own time. And if it takes longer, then it's okay because it's going to happen in its own time. And now things are starting to happen. When we let life be easy, things will start to be easy. Now, is this me saying that there are no hard times in life? Absolutely not. I'm going to have some hard times coming up because I won't be able to use my credit card at all until I buy a house. And we might have some missteps in the road of buying a house. Those are going to be a little difficult situations because if something like my car breaking pops up, I might not be able to fix it. The car situation is hard because now we have one car to work with. And the reason we bought a second car was so that we didn't have this issue. Like it's still hard, right? But you can change your perspective because now I can say, great, this car was never meant to come with me in the next chapter of my life. I can get rid of it. I can take the money that I got for the car and I can use it to buy Taylor Swift Era Tour tickets. I can use it to buy things for my house. I could do whatever it is that I need to do. And I look at the situation as a nice thing because we would have never gotten rid of that car had this not happened. And sometimes when you're in a situation, you can't immediately say, this is a good situation. You get a flat tire on the way to your job interview and you're like, this just sucks. This whole situation sucks. What is good about the situation? And you don't want to pressure yourself to think about why the situation is good in the moment, because sometimes that's going to be difficult to do. But maybe you'll look back down the road, 3 years down the road, a year down the road, even 6 months down the road and say, oh, this is good because of this. In some situations, I feel like some of them just suck, right? But there is a reason for everything happening the way that it happens. Even if you can't see it right away, you'll see it eventually. Hopefully. I've been working a lot on mindset and shifts like that. So I was able to see pretty quickly how the situation with my car was good. And I've been doing the work. So that's why it was a lot easier for me. Some situations are not going to be that easy. But how do you start? How do you start to allow things to be easy? Because now that we're talking about this, what is the next step? Like, what is the first thing that you need to do? The first thing you need to do is to build trust. That is seriously the foundation for everything, is building trust in yourself and in your situation. You have to trust the fact that things are going to work out on their own time, no matter what. You have to have that as a deep rooted trust. You can also trust that you have potential and that one day you are going to reach your full potential. Like, there is a plan for you. You got to trust that you were meant to be here for a reason and that you were meant to fulfill a purpose. And some people will look at this religiously and say, it's God. I personally think that God and religion is a little bit too heavy, so I just call it the universe. But you could literally call this whatever the heck it is that you want, whatever resonates best for you. It's all essentially the same thing. People just give it different names based on whatever they believe in, whatever they want. So you can just take this however you want, but the answer remains the same. There is some sort of higher power at work here. I feel like a lot of people understand that, and you can give it whatever name feels comfortable for you. All we know is that whatever it is for you, life has been planned out for you. And if you let it go and let it flow, life is going to be easy. The next thing you want to do is look for the positives, which is exactly what I've done in the situation with my car. I'm looking at the positives as opposed to the negatives, because if you focus on the negatives, all you are going to see is the negatives. And this is going to be about changing your mindset and your perspective, because it is so freaking important. And this isn't going to be easy for everyone. It definitely wasn't easy for me to start. This has been a super, super long time coming for me to be able to look at the positives as opposed to the negatives, because I grew up hearing people only focusing on the negatives. Some situations, like I said, you're not going to see it right away, but hopefully at some point you will. It's one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do, is get rid of that negative mindset. And it's something that I do still struggle with in situations. I'm not saying that I've mastered the positivity. This one situation, I've been able to be like, okay, it's good. Tomorrow might come up with a situation that I think just sucks. And eventually I'll figure it out, hopefully, that it was a good situation. Like, it's something that you just always have to work through. And I feel like no one's going to be 100% perfect about this. So give yourself grace when it comes to doing this stuff. Happiness is something that I think all of us are striving to be. So it's definitely something to aim for and trying to be as happy as you can all the time, because this life is short. But it's amazing when you really stop to smell the roses and you really look at it. So if everyone's trying to be happy, let's focus on the happy parts as opposed to the negative parts. Sometimes though, when you are used to focusing on the negative, happiness can almost feel uncomfortable. I know for me, when I started this journey, something small and minuscule would happen and I would get rooted in my anger and I would be negative, and then it's almost like a comfortable feeling that you kind of want to stay in the negative. It's your comfort zone because you understand those negative feelings. So you stay there, and then trying to get out of those negative feelings almost felt foreign for me because I wasn't used to doing that. Versus now in my situation, I was able to be sitting down in my living room, nothing necessarily going on, but I felt happy. And that was a weird sensation for me, to feel happy for no reason other than I was happy. And it took a while for me to understand that, like, that's supposed to be the norm. You're not supposed to be irritated, angry, stressed, upset all the time. You're supposed to be happy, or at least content in your situation. And so it was something that I had to get used to, and that might be the case for you as well. But once you do that, it's so much better on the other side to just be positive, because before all of this, I really looked at myself as a negative person. You wouldn't be able to tell through my videos because it's something that I enjoy. But when a situation happened, I always focused on the negative. Now you focus on the negative for a little bit because you're human and you have those emotions and you don't want to suppress those emotions. It's okay to feel however it is you feel, no matter what. But then you can start to hopefully at some point shift and say, okay, why is this a good thing? Or why is it okay? Or like start to look at it in a different light, if that makes any sense. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you get to that stage and you can start looking at the positive in your life, you can ask yourself, like, what is going good? What can you be happy about? You may want to try journaling That has been super helpful for me. Journaling has been an amazing help. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's so nice to be able to just get your thoughts down on the page. It is really great. It's a game changer. And if you are new to journaling and you don't even know where to start in terms of figuring out your mindset, I recommend checking out the journal prompts that I have for sale in my Etsy shop. I'll link them down below if you want them. It just helps you ask the right questions so that you can get to the root of whatever issues it is that you are having, as opposed to just journaling about your day and whatever. The other thing that you need to realize is that the journey is not going to be easy. That doesn't mean that it's not worth it though. The process to getting life to be easy and getting things to flow is difficult. And so if you could just get through that hard season of your life, because it is a season, it is not the whole show. And then when you come out the other side, that's when life starts to get easy. Another thing that you can do, and this relates to everybody, is embrace your feminine energy. And it does not matter what gender you are, we all have masculine and feminine energy. And one of the things that I have been working on recently is embracing more of my feminine energy versus the masculine energy that I have. And when you're starting a business, you tend to be more in your masculine energy. You kind of have to be. It's energy that is like pushing, controlling, the like go get it, the side hustle, all night attitude that you need in order to get your business off of the ground. Like you have to have that masculine energy, the go get it, I'm going to do all of the things energy in order to start running your business. However, once you have your business up and running and it can kind of run itself a little bit, if that's all the energy that you have, it's going to lead to burnout and it's going to be absolutely exhausting. So you obviously don't want the burnout to happen. And this is what most women do, i.e. me, is they get so into their masculine energy, they're controlling, I need to do all the things, I can't trust anybody to do anything, I have to be working all the time. When you get into that energy, it's hard to get out of. And then you start to, maybe like me, you start to weave a little bit of the feminine energy in, but you're still so stressed out because you're only in your masculine as opposed to your feminine energy. And when you don't weave in that feminine energy and you don't really embrace it, not only are you going to burn out, but you are also doing things the hard way. And we want life to be easy, but you're not letting things flow. You're not letting it be easy if you're only in your masculine energy. You're stuck in this pushing, controlling masculine energy mindset, and you're telling the universe that you don't got this and you don't trust that it's going to happen and all the things that we talked about, right? Like that is what that kind of energy is. So it's time to bring in the much needed feminine energy. And that energy is the flowy manifestation energy. You're in tune with your body, your mind, you're in touch with nature and your surroundings, and you're just happy and you are trusting. When you're in your feminine energy, you let things come to you. You don't do the chasing, you do the attracting. And you are okay with sitting back and letting your manifestations come to you. And so because of that energy being the sit back and do nothing type of energy, if you run a business, that is not going to work 100% of the time. But once your business starts to work and run and you're getting your videos posted or your blog post posted, you're getting consistent traffic, you're making the passive sales, you can be more in your feminine energy than your masculine energy. It's a balance, right? You can't be 100% in your masculine energy because then you're going to burn out. But you can't be 100% in your feminine energy because if you do all the sitting back, then none of the work is actually going to get done, right? So there's a balance to like really tap in your feminine energy. You just have to be like content where you are. You are clear with where you are going, where you want to be. And it is just such a great place to be. You know what you want and you know that you're going to get it no matter what. And once you can start getting into that stage, that is when life starts to flow and be easy. And I feel like that is where I'm at right now. And of course, there's always more work to do. I could definitely do better, but I feel like that's where I am right now. I've talked so much. This is definitely be the longest podcast episode I've ever posted, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope that was really helpful. I love you so very much. I want you to go out there, kick some ass. And one last thing before we go, if you want to work with me working through a lot of these mindset shifts and all of that, I launched a blog audit and coaching session recently. I'll leave the link to that down below in the description. I really cannot wait to start working with some of you guys. I'm so excited about this. You know where to do all the things, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.